coming to order.
Hey,
Welcome, everyone. And so Finance Committee coming to order at 6:35 on May 6th. Let's just go around and identify ourselves for the record. So Ryan, why don't you start?
Ryan Hogan, Finance Committee member.
Heather Moore, Finance Committee.
Carol Gogolinsky, Finance Committee.
Sandy Kuipers, Finance Committee.
Dick Vandenberg, Finance Committee. Lynn is not here with prior notice, and we're still waiting on Howard and Mike. So, all right, everybody have their agendas in front of them.
Here's Mike.
Speaking of Michael, here he is. So let's first take care of the reserve fund transfers. Let's do this first. And then we'll go to just talking about the warrant a little bit. So we have two. One is for MS4 stuff, and Matt, why don't you walk us through that?
Sure. So,
The amount is 1,000,
No, 6,509.95.
oh, I see, 6,509 and 95 cents. Okay, Matt, follow.
all right, so the difference is what's been invoiced versus what's in the balance. So unfortunately, last town meeting, we did not put an article on. So they've been doing their year 6 work through previous funds, and those have since been exhausted. So now we're kind of out of money, and they've done some work that we need to pay for. So that's what this is for, is to cover the year 6 funding that we didn't go for town meeting for last year. There is an article on for town meeting this year to cover year 7.
Gotcha. Okay. Any questions for Matt, anybody? Gene, comment at all? Do we have the money somewhere?
In the reserve fund.
In the reserve
These are
fund.
both reserve fund requests. The balance in the reserve fund before these are $45,600.
Okay. So then the motion, everybody, would be that we move to approve a request for transfer from the reserve fund of $6,509.95 to be transferred to the MS4 compliance fund, I guess, or account?
Account.
Would somebody make that motion?
So moved.
Heather moves it.
Second.
Second by Ryan. Any discussion, anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, motion carries. So we all need to sign all 3 papers, is that right? So I'll sign it and then get it to Sandy. And we'll carry on. And then the second one is for $18,900. Gene, can you explain that one to us?
This is for the IT. Have a good night. I'll see you. This is for the IT budget. There were 2 big projects that kind of threw this budget off track. We had the generator, which required him to be on site for additional days. He'll actually be on site again this week because of the switchover, because of that project. And the second was the phone systems. We went from our existing phone system to a new phone system. The phones themselves were funded through the Opera project, the Opera funding. But the tech budget just took a hit for that. So this will hopefully, again, these are outside consultants that we hire. They come in 1 day a week. We did kind of scale it back through June 30, but we may visit again if something happens.
Are the phones up and running and
The
working?
phones are up and running. The generator is, we're gonna be down a little bit tomorrow to do the switchover. I think tomorrow is the last piece of that, but IT has to be on site for those 2 projects.
So we have the money for the
Again, it's out of the reserve fund,
18,900.
correct.
So the motion would be, everybody, that we move to transfer from the reserve fund $18,900 to be transferred to the technology account.
Correct.
Does that sound good, Gene?
Yes.
Would somebody make a motion?
So moved.
Michael? Second by
Heather.
Heather. Discussion, anybody? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained, motion carries. Same thing here, I'll sign all 3, and then if you guys would sign all 3. That would be great. All right, Sandy? And then, Yeah, so there's a thing that I will sign myself, but it's a bill from Alpha Graphics for almost $5,000 for 4,788.22. Gene, you want to give us the background to
This is for the.
Alpha Graphics?
This is for the flyers that were mailed. Town meeting has to actually approve Article 1 of the special before that can be paid. Because of the size of the last two warrants that were mailed out, because of the solar and some of the larger articles, the price increase, as well as the cost of stamps, or the mailing. So we looked to increase the budget for the finance committee next year, because I think it's really important that each resident receive the town meeting flyer prior to town meeting. I think it's a great thing that Douglas does.
Does Alpha Graphics do it every year?
Yes,
That's our
that's who we've been using.
printer or whatever?
Mhm. But it's, again, it's, the size of the flyer determines the cost of the product.
Any objection to that? Anybody, any questions? Doesn't really need a motion, I don't think, does it?
No, you're authorized to sign, but we should make them aware of how much it
Yeah,
costs.
so a little more money because it was a bigger flyer that got mailed out to people. All right, so let's just talk about the warrant a minute, everybody. So there are a number of items where we voted no as a group. And I'm anticipating that somebody might ask from the audience why. And I thought one of our big concerns was that there was no proponent for those motions to answer our questions. And that was one reason why we felt we couldn't endorse it, is because we just had a lot of unanswered questions. Does that sound good enough? Everybody okay with that? And then if somebody asks, well, what's an example?
I'll give them all the examples they need.
We said we got Carol here.
I have a question on this. If you read-
Which warrant article are you looking at, Carol?
Any of them. If
Okay.
you read the way it says, FinCom voted to recommend this article, but then it's 0 yes and 6 no, but each one, it looks like we recommended these
Yeah, I
things.
was a little.
Well, you can't do a negative vote.
Because FinCom did not recommend this
Well,
article.
the vote to recommend failed. It's sort of a negative thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like in the old PCs, you want to turn off the computer, you hit start.
I don't
to start
remember
the
it
shutdown
being written like
process.
this before.
Yeah, I thought in years past, we used to say that it did fail.
Right,
We
yes,
did,
right.
but then someone said that we had to write the recommendations in a positive, and we switched it to this.
Yeah,
Who was
I
that?
don't remember.
They could put FinCom's recommendation on this article or something.
So then in future reference,
Yeah.
should somebody make a motion to not recommend the motion?
can you move a negative though? As opposed to you move and then it fails. I think that's, I understand exactly what you mean though, Carol.
Yeah. Maybe next
Can we
time-
get a legal read?
We can ask. yeah.
I think that's the easiest way to do it, is
Yeah.
solve this legal
I
read.
think the motion has
That's
to be
what it is.
positive, but I mean, we can write whatever we want on the flyer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We used to write the did not recommend.
Yes, we did.
yeah.
yeah, that's what we
Yes, we did.
did, so.
And I just think that's a little easier. To be bluntly honest, I looked quickly. I wasn't at the meeting, right? So I looked quickly and said, oh, we recommended everything. And I bing, 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 and then I had someone ask me.
Yeah.
Right.
And they said, oh, FinCom didn't recommend it. I said, what? Yeah, they did. And then I went back and looked, and just like Carol said, it was 0 no.
Yeah.
0 yes, 6 no.
We'll tidy
So-
that up for next time.
Yeah, just to make it a little clearer.
You know, they used to add, every time they had one of these things, they would always say what FinCom's recommendation was, and they don't seem to do that anymore.
Well, we do.
Oh, no,
It
but
just-
when they got in front of the group,
Oh, no, they don't. You're right.
right. So
Yes.
maybe they need to say, what was FinCom's recommendation?
That's up to the moderator. It's his meeting.
Yeah, that's sort of how Keith wants to do it, I think. But I think in future, to write the motion a little clearer would probably be a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
Should we do a point of order then during the course of the meeting?
I think we should.
You know, during the discussion
I
period,
think
to
we
just
should.
say, hey, go on the record? You know, if it's a big enough issue and it's important enough.
Right.
Or maybe
No.
we bring the moderator to the FinCon meeting and have a discussion.
But I think on this one here, this meeting right here, I think we need a point of order on each one, and exactly what we said, because even Ryan's honest, and he thought we rewrote voters recommend everything.
Well, the moderator didn't like the way it was worded either, flyer, so that helped too.
Oh, really?
This
No.
time around? Yeah,
I'm sorry?
this time around?
This
yeah,
time around, we
yeah.
didn't like it.
So maybe we bring him and have a Building.
So next, I think we'll just let it ride for tonight.
No.
See what happens.
I say, no, we don't let it ride for tonight.
Well,
I
it's-
think we
it-
need to know what FinCom really said.
Well, if you look at it, we said 0 to 6, no. Or it failed 0 to 6,
But you
right?
have to read down below to the second.
I think,
Yeah.
I think
But that's the
Mike's
key.
right, point of order. What was FinCom in favor of this?
Well, for instance, if you look at, let's just look at one of them a minute. I mean, I understand exactly your point. So everybody, if you look at page 17, for instance,
Okay.
right above where it says Article 14, it says, FinCom voted to recommend this article, 0 yes and 6 no. So the vote to recommend failed.
But it doesn't say that.
Well, 0 yes.
But that does take a bit of interpretation.
Right.
Okay, so what would be your point of order then, Carol?
Point of order, did FinCom recommend this, be passed? The answer is no. FinCom did not recommend this.
And it says 6 no there. correct?
Right, but I think it has to be brought out. FinCom was no on this. I think
Maybe
we
we do
need,
a second sentence, FinCom did not recommend.
FinCom did not recommend this article.
So if it said FinCom did not recommend by a vote of 6 to 0, or
That's
0
right.
to 6.
That's right.
Okay. Well, I'll defer to you on that, Carol. I
Yeah.
mean, you're a citizen, you can bring up points of order with
Are you referring to Article 16?
13 at the end.
13?
Yeah.
16 may be passed over this evening, so it won't be an issue.
That's the stormwater one.
Yeah.
Yes, I was talking about that.
Do we
being
know
passed.
that for sure yet?
It's not 100%.
And Matt thought so.
Matt thought
No question about
And
it.
even on
Didn't hit me
the,
either time and said,
the transfer of
"That's
the
our
ownership of Caswell Court to the Conservation Commission, even that was 4 against and 2 for.
Mm-hmm.
And then the one of the new fee schedule for, fines on conservation, that again, that also failed 6 to 0.
Maybe we'll just put that extra sentence in, if it is
But
not
I
recommended.
think the order is important too, that needs to be first. Because otherwise,
Yeah,
it's almost
right.
like clickbait, it's
Okay.
like FinCom voted to approve this. If that's where you stopped and then moved on to the next article,
Yeah,
you're thinking FinCom voted to approve this. It's not until you get to the next sentence. So even if you added a third or a fourth sentence or an entire
We'll make it
paragraph,
first.
if somebody stopped at the end of that first period and moved on to the next article, oh, they approved it.
But it says it right after it.
But you have to.
But still, I mean,
read the rest
even Ryan's example, right? He read through it and went, oh, we approved everything,
Yeah, right,
you know?
there you go.
How many people in the general population did that exact same thing?
I
you
never
know?
spotted it.
Now, I knew it was
Until
on
someone
the
brought it up.
flyer,
yeah.
so I
Did
just.
you?
Hi, Howard.
I didn't really read through it again, no.
Yeah, because I had conversations with my wife at home, and, the flyer comes into the mail, and she's reading through, it, and she's like, I thought you guys voted not to recommend things. I'm like, we did. She's like, well, it says you voted to recommend this. And I'm like, let me see that. And I, sitting there at the dining room table, and I read through it, I'm like, no, it says right here, to your point, 0 yes and however many no. But that initial thought
Yeah.
that runs through somebody's mind is, oh, they voted to approve this.
Mike, can you bring up those point of orders?
I can,
Yeah, why don't you do it? And then at least it'll be clear.
Carol's taking care of all the lands.
Oh, I'll have
So
fun.
noted, everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome, Howard.
Thank you.
So if you look at your agendas, everybody, it's 10:00. I think we're gonna dismiss and reconvene later. So we've done the reserve fund transfers. We've looked at the warrant. We have 4 minutes to review and approve, and we'll just hold off until later to do that. So June 25 is a tentative date for people for our next meeting. Will that work for everybody as far as you know?
Yeah, I think so.
I will have to call in, I will be in Florida.
It's Tuesday.
Can you come on Zoom or not?
Oh, I can come on Zoom, that's
Okay.
not a problem.
Anybody else have an issue with June 25?
As far as I know, I know.
So let's just hang on to the minutes until then, okay? Anybody have anything else that we need to talk about right now? All right, so we'll dismiss now to go to the town meeting, and then once the town meeting is finished, let's all huddle right in the front to officially adjourn and
Okay.
so on and so forth. All right, off we go. We are now dismissed.